230,000 aluminum trucks, no air conditioning, no airbags, aerodynamics of a filing cabinet. They still carry American mail, built for $12,000, designed to last 20 years. That was 4 decades ago. The LLV is a cheat code. It is what happens when a lunar module contractor raids a General Motors parts bin on a federal budget, and the same engineering that made it immortal is now setting it on fire. In 1984, the Postal Service faced a fleet on its last legs, trucks corroded by salt, battered by years of stop and go, and draining budgets with constant repairs. The agency's answer was RFP 84U011, a 91-page document spelling out a wish list that bordered on science fiction. The new delivery vehicle had to last 20 years, cost less than $15,000 per unit, and use parts available at any corner auto shop. Internally, the mandate was blunt: build a moonlander on wheels tough enough for daily punishment, immune to the rust and rot that doomed its predecessors. Robert H. Albers, head of procurement, drove the point home. The review board's scoring sheets put durability, cost realism, and parts commonality above all else. Innovation mattered only if it meant fewer breakdowns. Every day a truck sat idle cost the Postal Service $1,500 in lost productivity. The old cycle of buying new fleets every decade had to end. Grumman Aerospace, famous for the Apollo Lunar Module, saw an opening. Their proposal leaned on aerospace know-how, aluminum alloys, and riveted construction, materials and methods proven in space, now repurposed to fight rust and keep weight down. The promise was a shell that could shrug off salt, snow, and sun, a corrosion-resistant, field-repairable body designed to outlast the steel hulks it would replace. But Grumman did not try to reinvent the entire truck. For the drivetrain, they turned to General Motors. The heart of the vehicle was the Chevrolet 2.5-liter Iron Duke engine, chosen for its simplicity and toughness. General Motors' own tests had pushed the Iron Duke through over 10 million stop-and-go cycles with barely any loss of compression. Its low-end torque and timing chain design made it ideal for mail routes, where highway speeds were rare and reliability was everything. The transmission was General Motors' 3-speed automatic, hydraulic and basic, built to handle endless curbside stops. Rear axle and suspension came straight from the S-10 pickup, ensuring replacement parts would be easy to source. The contract's formula was simple: aerospace shell and General Motors components under $15,000. No frills, no electronics, just modular durability. The result was a machine that looked almost toy-like, but was engineered for survival. Whether this hybrid of lunar ambition and Detroit practicality could actually deliver a 20-year service life would soon be put to the test. Laredo, Texas, 1986. 6 prototype LLV trucks rolled out for the kind of punishment that would make most delivery trucks beg for mercy. The Postal Service did not want theory, they wanted proof. The test protocol was simple: 24,000 miles of relentless abuse, simulated mail routes in triple-digit heat, potholes deep enough to swallow a wheel, curb impacts hard enough to rattle your fillings. Each van was loaded with 2,000 pounds of ballast, because if a mail truck cannot haul a mountain of Christmas catalogs, it is useless. Mike S. Torres, Grumman's durability lead, logged every groan and jolt. Accelerometers on each wheel hub recorded every violent shudder, while strain gauges mapped the stress on the aluminum skin. The real star was the monocoque exoskeleton, 7075 T6 aluminum, riveted in a grid straight out of an aircraft hangar. No spot welds, no fancy adhesives, just rows of self-locking blind rivets spaced a precise 1.5 inches apart, each one a tiny insurance policy against the kind of vibration that shreds lesser vehicles. The numbers do not lie. After 24,000 simulated miles, not a single frame fracture. Blind rivet strain never topped 150 megapascals, well below the yield threshold. The panels flexed, shrugged, and kept going. Where steel-bodied test vans developed hairline cracks and rusty seams within weeks, the LLV aluminum shell stayed tight. Even after repeated curb impacts and pothole runs, the body panels could be swapped out in under 30 minutes with a pneumatic rivet gun, no welding, no downtime. Just pop a new sheet in and get back on the route. The resilience was obvious. Corrosion, the silent killer of postal fleets, barely made a dent. The Laredo sun and salt-laced dust did their worst, but the LLV skin shrugged off pitting and surface oxidation. Lab tests later confirmed what Torres saw in the field. After 10,000 hours of wet-dry cycling, the 7075 T6 panels still held their flexural strength. Data loggers told the same story: structural integrity mile after brutal mile. In the end, the Laredo report landed on the review board's desk with a simple message: 0 frame failures, rivet grid intact, no catastrophic fatigue. The LLV was not just a theory or a sales pitch. It was a rolling contradiction, primitive, boxy, and nearly indestructible. A mail truck built to take punishment, engineered by people who once put men on the moon, then handed over to a workforce ready to drive it straight into the ground and back again. Mail carriers learned quickly. The LLV wasn't just a box on wheels, it was a tool built for the job. The right-hand drive put the driver inches from the curb, turning every mailbox into a drive-through window. No more hopping out into traffic, no more awkward stretching across the seat. An internal USPS human factors study clocked a 22% drop in shoulder strain compared to the old left-hand drive rigs. For a carrier running hundreds of stops a day, that's the difference between finishing a shift upright or hunched over in pain. The low floor, just 16 inches off the ground, meant stepping in and out was nearly effortless. No climbing, no awkward leaps with an armful of packages. The high roof over 7 feet inside let carriers stand to sort parcels or reach the farthest corner without crouching. Sliding side doors opened wide enough for both hands to grab heavy loads, cutting delivery time at each stop. And then there's the turning radius, a tight 30 feet sharper than most sedans. That let the LLV snake through cul-de-sacs and alleys where bigger trucks would get stuck or be forced to reverse. In the ergonomics game, these choices weren't just nice, they were route-saving. Carriers got a truck that made the daily grind a little less brutal, and for all its quirks, that loyalty stuck. Cabin temperatures in the Grumman LLV don't just climb, they spike. NIOSH field studies fitted Type K thermocouples at the driver's seat, the ceiling, and the floor. The results were stark. In Phoenix, a 105-degree day pushed the cabin to 140 degrees in under half an hour. That's a 35-degree surge in just 15 minutes of idling, with no insulation to slow the heat. The aluminum floor, barely 1 millimeter thick, acts like a skillet, conducting thermal energy straight from the engine bay into the driver's shoes. The danger isn't hypothetical. NHTSA's database lists 237 fire complaints involving LLVs between 2008 and 2022. Most trace back to a chain reaction. Aging rubber fuel lines crack under heat stress, leaking gasoline onto exhaust manifolds that can reach 500 degrees. The original aerospace-grade wiring, now brittle from decades of baking, shorts out and throws sparks into the mix. When that happens, the thin aluminum floor doesn't just heat up, it channels fire into the cabin, turning the van into an oven with mail still inside. Dr. Emily S. Torres, a thermal engineer at Georgia Tech, summed it up. The LLV's design trades insulation for weight savings, creating a vehicle that can reach scalding temperatures within minutes. For carriers in the Southwest, it's not just uncomfortable, it's a daily hazard. The same aerospace logic that made the LLV nearly rust-proof also left it primed for thermal runaway, a flaw that no amount of durability can fix. Keeping the LLV fleet alive has become a kind of mechanical triage. With key S-10 parts discontinued since 1999, depot mechanics have turned to cannibalizing retired trucks, stripping axles, sensors, and transmission housings from dead hulks just to keep the living rolling. The official parts lists are riddled with crossed-out SKUS and handwritten substitutions. When a throttle position sensor fails, there is no warehouse to call. There is just a boneyard and a prayer that the donor's wiring is not too brittle. Custom fabrication is now routine. Mechanics weld new steel plates onto cracked subframes, bend aluminum brackets by hand, and retrofit aftermarket fuel lines in place of obsolete General Motors originals. Each workaround buys a few more months, but costs climb with every patch. Annual maintenance per vehicle has jumped 53% since the 1990s, now topping $2,300 per truck. The mean time to repair for major failures has doubled, sometimes stretching past a week, as depots wait for a rare part or machine, a custom fix. The original promise of easy, cheap repairs has inverted. What was once a parts bin miracle now runs on ingenuity and salvage, not supply chains. The LLV survives, but only because a generation of mechanics has learned to treat every truck as a puzzle, not a product. The LLV's secret sauce, aluminum armor and bargain bin guts, made it immortal, but also a rolling heat trap. Every day, tens of thousands still gamble with thermal risk for the sake of cheap durability. America's most stubborn mail truck is proof that cheat codes always come with a glitch. Drop your take below.